Hey everybody, welcome back to Wisconsin Minnesota Golf Society. Griffin here today, going to give you my review of Manatee County Golf Course down in Bradenton, Florida. Manatee tips out just over 6,400 yards, and while 125 slope isn't all that intimidating, I can say that not playing the course before, playing in the wind and the rain, it made things challenging, and I definitely do things differently the next time around. So I hope that my review of all 18 holes today can give you some perspective and a little bit of a head start if you intend on going and playing Manatee at some point in time. So let's get right into it. Hole number one is a 413-yard par four. You got the driving range up the left and an elevated green, but there's no real trouble outside the green side bunkers, front left and front right. I ended up going driver, 51-degree wedge, really comfy starting hole. For me, ended up just on the right side, just off the green. I left that putt short, and then from there, we've got our first putt that's missed to the left of the day. There's many of those. Moving on to hole number two, 404-yard par four, fairway bunker and OB left with two greenside bunkers in the front. I ended up missing the fairway left off the tee, and that left me blocked out by trees and those bunkers, as mentioned. So I bailed out to the right. From there, you've got your standard up and down opportunity, which I was unable to complete on the day. But again, it's kind of one of those holes where you should be able to get off to a par start, moving into the rest of the holes on the course. So the third hole, 179-yard par three. It's over water, which isn't really in play if you catch it good. Green breaks from the back left to the front right, and there's bunkers front and back on the right side of the green. So there's very little space to miss left, but overall, if you hit the green, you should have a good chance at par. From there, we move on to the par five, fourth. It's 469 yards. There's trouble up the entire left side and on the right as you get close to the green. I think it's iron for the best play. I ended up doing that and giving myself an eagle chance. And so, of course, that's what I would say. But I think it's really risky to go driver off the tee. The layup's hard, but it's still worth it to hit long iron. The fifth, excuse me, is 404-yard par four. Big dog leg left, and with not a lot of space to go through the fairway, it's kind of appropriate to hit an iron here. I ended up hitting driver, went way left of the water even. But again, like I said, you're better off, playing a club that's going to get you into the fairway, maybe 225 yards or so, and then having a longer, maybe a mid iron into the green. The green is kind of big, but it has a ridge that runs through the middle of it. I'd I'd say stay below the hole. No surprise there, but I guess it depends in the back. You might be able to get away with hitting it a little bit long. The sixth was the hardest hole of the day for me. I pulled out driver, hit it into the water. That's all the way up the right side of the green, or the course, all the way up to the green. It's long enough to hit driver at 404 yards, but I think if you can hit a long iron up the left side, you give yourself the best chance at seeing the green on your approach. If you don't, you're going to be looking through all of these trees into a green that is protected by a bunker short left and very little space long. You can see was on the right side of this hole the entire time and made an absolute mess of it. Stay left, even if that means that you've got a really long shot in for two. I think you've got a decent chance at getting up and down if you're within 25 yards of the green. The seventh is a 331-yard par four. It's a shorter hole with water down the right, but a strong drive over the fairway bunkers sets up a short pitch and a makeable birdie. I ended up doing that. For whatever reason, I must have had some confidence in my driver at this point. But with about 35 yards to the green here, all I really had to contend with was the bunkers on the right. I played it out just left of those, gave myself a chance at birdie, and that's all you can ask for, right? The eighth is a 209-yard par three, longest on the course, into the fan today. I hit 3-iron into the elevated green, which is pretty big and approachable if you can get it there. Bunker front right is, of course, in play when it's going to be this long and into the wind. My 3-iron was short, arguably the best shot I hit that day, but it left me with a really good chance at an up and down. I think we had a friendly pin placement kind of down in one of the lower parts at the center of the green. Everything kind of broke to it. Um, but I think if you can get up close to the green, this is definitely a par hole given the length. And I think you should be happy to come away with one too. The ninth is the longest par five on the course at 505 yards. There's plenty of space off the tee. A good drive is gonna give you an opportunity to choose, go for it or lay up. Now, I had 210 yards here and decided to chunk a 4-iron into water, which is up the right hand side. This was a frustrating 9 holes for me. The other option was to go wedge from here up the left, which is, maybe a sensible move given the trees and the bunker that's up by the green and playing it over the water. But if you're willing to risk it, maybe you've got a good round going, or maybe you're a little bit left of me on the right side of the fairway. I think there's plenty of reason to take a chance at it. It's a long and skinny green. The pin was kind of back middle today, right before a second tier. So there's a long way to putt. I ended up not getting it there. As mentioned, it was rainy. The greens were already slow. But that's no excuse for not being able to make a two putt. I think unless they've got the pin on the back tier there, this is definitely a two putt green, and hopefully that means it's birdie. All right, the 10th is the longest par four on the course, 436 yards. It's a par hole though. I mean, you could make birdie. It's all there right in front of you. But I think to walk away with a par, you should feel really happy. The only place you can't go is long. I went long left, lost the golf ball. It makes the pitch shot incredibly challenging. You've got to go back up to the green. I went up to the green and well over it, which leaves you a similar shot back up. The green's not all that challenging. The bunkers aren't, too much trouble. But play what's in front of you. I probably made an error with my approach club choice. 11th is a 327-yard par four. There's a bunker right in the middle of the fairway that probably catches the ball of some of the longer players off the tee. But if you're short of that, even with an iron, this is a birdie hole. The green is very friendly. You can play below the hole and give yourself an uphill putt at birdie. And, I think, more often than not, that should be a putt you should be comfortable with. And you should be thinking about hole number 11 as scoreable. The 12th is a 156-yard par three. Excuse me. Water shouldn't be in play, but you can definitely get up and down. There's only a bunker on the left. Pretty friendly hole. 13th is a 387-yard par four. Driver gets you to the end of the fairway, leaving a mid-iron approach in on this dogleg left. Bunkers are short and right of the green and not really a factor. There's space to miss around the green as well. Certainly I think being short is better than being long, but you're not going to put yourself in jail or, in a situation where you need to drop if you do miss the green here. It's a pretty large green. To the center of the green from the front of it, I probably had a 45-foot putt, but it's a makeable par. 14th is 354-yard par four. I'd play up the left. OB is the only challenge there up the left, but it definitely gives you the best way to get closest to the pin with a green that breaks from right to left pretty much the entire way. I ended up on the right side of the green, had a big breaker. But again, this hole's right there out in front of you. It's definitely a hole that, with a good drive up the left, you should be thinking, this is go zone. Let's make a birdie. 15th is a 489-yard par five. Water left off the tee is in play, but the best play is to be down the right. It gives you the best look at the green. You can see here I kind of didn't hit the shot I wanted to, ended up bailing out right. Probably a little long too, considering that I had to play over this bunker. But this is, again, a birdie hole. If you can lay up into an appropriate spot or even land it on the green, you could be looking at eagle as well. 16th is a 150-yard par three. Visually, I'd say this is the most challenging par three. Despite its length, the green is long but not wide, and there's some space short and left and just a little bit long. You do not want to miss right, though. If you can land it on the green, you're going to find yourself with a relatively flat putt. Um, I think it might be tempting to go after it here, especially if the pin is in the back with a lot of green in front of you. But par is a comfortable score. Hole 17, drivable, par four, 319 yards. You can get away with long iron here and still have a really good chance at birdie, not even a full wedge in. If you do end up hitting driver, you could find yourself behind the green side bunker, which I found myself here. Not an easy chip, but it is a pretty big green. And depending on where the pin is placed, you should still have an opportunity for birdie. All right, on to the 18th hole here, 497-yard par five. It's reachable in two, but you kind of have to really crank one down the middle or get lucky and pull it up the left-hand side by the driving range. There's bunkers front right, which means that if you are going to lay up, you're better off laying up pin high left, as you'll have a lot of green to work with. If you don't, you'll find yourself in a position like me, playing over a pretty large bunker into a green that is not very deep. We found ourselves in this position a few times today, and never dumped it into the bunker, but it does make it getting close to the hole a challenge. Especially on a par five, when you want to give yourself a birdie opportunity. On 18 here, you want to play it out to the left. It's the safest spot, and you should be able to run one up close to the hole. So that takes us to the end of my review of Manatee Golf Course. I think if you're down in the area looking to play 18 holes for a reasonable price, this is potentially the only option. I'd give it a good 3.5, 4 stars out of 5, and would definitely come back again. Thanks for spending time with us. And if you like this content and want to see more, feel free to like and subscribe.